Right. There you go. Hello and welcome to the GiriCast, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Giris out there, and as part of the Sports Social Podcast Network. I'm Nick Bell, and we are here to review this weekend's victory at home at Rosaleda against surprise packages Huesca. And to review this game with me, I've got two very brilliant gentlemen, one that was in La Rosaleda with me, and one which exquisitely live tweeted the whole thing at home. Luke Chambers, I'll start with you first. Welcome to the GiriCast again.
Thank you very much, Nick. How are you?
Not doing too bad. I am tired after my weekend endeavours and then straight back into work, but I will survive. And I'm also joined by Chris Marquez down at the bottom of the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you again.
Hi, nice to see you all. It's a bit cloudy here in Malaga, I can tell you guys.
It was. I was surprised that it was actually raining when I walked out of my windowless Robin Island Malaga Wing hotel at the weekend.
We were at home and we thought, yeah, finally, a bit of rain. And then you sent in our group chat like, oh, it's raining. And then I thought, then I felt bad. And I said, come back, son, come back.
It wasn't long before it made a reappearance, and to be fair, by the time I got to about 40 minutes in the first half in La Rosaleda and the sun's beating down on 5-3, I was like, fucking hell, I wish it would rain. Yeah. So I was baking. But welcome, guys. Once again, we're going to go back over that Huesca game later on, but as always, let's catch up with some news straight from La Rosaleda. The first bit isn't really great news. As we would have seen on the weekend, Hightam came on for a very, very brief appearance. He is now back on the injury table, joining a long list of players currently receiving treatment at the club. Luke, do we have any update on Hightam after he pulled up in that game against Huesca?
Yeah, it's not good news, unfortunately. By the sounds, the scans have come back and it is the suspected hamstring. They don't know the severity of the tear at the moment, but anything regarding your hamstring at this time of year, I'd be very surprised if we see Hightam again before December at least.
No, and when me and Matt were sat where we were in 538, we saw him pull up and then, walk quite gingerly. You knew there was something wrong straight away, and he was visibly, sort of upset as well. Chris, you were also in the stadium. I imagine you saw him pull up too, but you had said that rushing Hightam back was always going to be a problem. You've kind of mystic megged it a little bit, and you foresaw this coming. Did we rush him back too soon? Did we give him a chance to get playing properly and get fit?
When you look at his history of injuries and how soon he got the injuries after recovering, I think you can say that Malaga has made a mistake on bringing him on so quickly. And I don't know why, because maybe one fallback can be just a coincidence or unlucky, but twice I think it's I don't know, it says something.
Yeah, it was a strange one as well, because obviously he replaced Romani, and Romani wasn't doing too badly, to be fair. I thought he had quite a good game, especially in the first half. But I can kind of see it from both sides. Paysair wants to give Hightam minutes to get him back up to full fitness, and playing football helps you do that. But as Chris says, I ultimately agree with him. Hightam's a bit of a special case. He is injury prone. He's had 2 back-to-back horrendous injuries. You kind of need to let him dip his toe back in a bit more. Do you reckon, Luke?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's been training for quite a long time, but for somebody, myself, when I was playing, I was very injury prone, although more broken bones than muscles. But I broke my metatarsal once, trained for 6-7 weeks, And then in my first game, I lasted 7 minutes. It's different movements in a game, different intensity. When I read into Hitam's injury earlier, what it's saying is, never mind the big words, basically his hamstring, the muscle's not quite ready after such a big injury in his leg, that the hamstring hasn't been focused on enough. So when he's, say, gone for a sharp sprint, the muscle's not strong enough, and that's where he's felt the twitch. And it just shows from Hitam already at a young age, the experience to know this ain't right. Something's not right. Other players may have tried to carry on for 2 minutes and made it worse. At least he knew to come off then, and hopefully the impact's less.
I ask myself, was it necessary in the match to bring on Hitam? Because if it's necessary, let's say it's the final, it's the Champions League final or the World Cup final, I would say, and you were left with no wingers, or you were, I don't know, it's 2-2, and you're in at a time in minute 120. I would say, well, bring him on. It all makes sense. And if he then gets injured, well, if he brings the win, or if he helps winning, I would say, yeah, no problem. But against Huesca, winning 1-0, I don't really see. It wasn't necessary, I think.
No.
Yeah, we were in control at that point, and I think obviously one of the thoughts that maybe went through Sergio's head is just we've got a lack of wingers now. You know, Hitam joins Lebete, Larubia, Lorenzo, Kevin, all in the treatment room. When we've only really got Antonito and Ramani that sort of.
We have a bit of good news, though, Nick. We have a little bit of good news backing off that. Julian Lebete and Daniel Lorenzo are back in full training.
That is good news. Surprised about Lebete as well. I know we mentioned it last week, but
yeah, whether Granada is a couple of days too soon or something, because when you think about it, it is a very quick turnaround for us. Again, even now it's midweek, it's Tuesday, and you think, well, we'll play again in 3 days. Fingers crossed he's ready, probably from the bench, I imagine.
But then would you bring him already after learning? I mean, it's great that the players are back, but you see what happened with Hitam. You see, and their injuries weren't so big as other injuries. But you have Ramon training with the team as well.
See, now the staff must be shitting themselves about Ramon after seeing what's happened here.
But listen, and I said it last couple of seasons as well, it's not normal that you have so many players who get injured. I do believe that it can happen to you one season, that you have a lot of injuries, but this is every season. We don't have a squad of 18 players anymore. It doesn't make sense. There has to be another reason why we are getting so many injuries.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like you say, whether regimes are the causality of it, or whether it is just the player themselves that are more susceptible. But I agree with you, Luke. Ramon and his minders must be thinking, right, let's not rush back too quickly, otherwise we might be in the same position again.
Exactly.
However, if we are looking for players, you know, there's a young wee man in the Atletico Malagueño who can't stop goal scoring for fun. So maybe give Chupete a shout if we need someone or some backup for Granada on Friday. Just on that result, obviously quite a convincing win at the training ground. It was the first time that Atletico Malagueño had played at the I always forget the name. It's like Ciudad Deportivo Malaga, basically the Malaga training ground. Luke, I believe you were across this result, and you text me about Chupete scoring an absolute blinder. Can you share a bit more information about it?
Yeah, so basically, for anybody who doesn't know, Chupete has played 2 league games this season, and that is now back-to-back hat-tricks. Very much the tweet what the Gearcast put out. Chupete or Haaland. For me, Chupete every day of the week. But yeah, like you said, Nick, Malagueño's first game at the Sports Centre, shall we call it. They beat Arenas de Armila 3-2. Chupete scored his 3rd goal on the 89th minute. But it was also a special day at the training facility for Malaga Femenino. It was their first game as well. Unfortunately for them, they can only draw 0-0 against Madrid Club de Football Bay. And I believe, I don't know if you guys, I think Madrid have a team in the La Liga Femenino as well.
I think so, yes.
I think you have Real Madrid, Atletico, but you also have
Barcelona.
Madrid football as well. But so yeah, great day at the Sports Centre.
I know
Probably
they
something
signed the
similar to like what they
Dutch,
have in
the
Glasgow,
Dutch
isn't it?
player. Firmino signed the Dutch player coming over from AZ Alkmaar, if I'm right.
Nice.
I imagine Chris Marquez is going to be a very big fan of this player.
I'm a fan of every player who comes from Holland and plays for Malaga.
No, absolutely. But more and more fixtures getting put up there as well that we played at the Malaga Sports City or Centre, as you're saying, Luke. So it's always worth a check out, because if you have a season ticket or I believe a Carne Malaguistas card, your entry's free. So, and it's always a bit of fun to go to training ground and see behind the scenes, which is probably a good shout. I suppose to link it into the Holland element of it there, or at least the Netherlands, I should say. Chris, you're probably a bit more across this, but a team called VV Millicent, we shared a video on our social media.
Sounds very, I don't know, like Once Upon a Time, or Millicent sounds like a witch from a Disney.
Like Maleficent, isn't it? That I'm probably saying.
Yeah.
I'm probably saying that completely wrong, but when a Northern Englishman sees as and ends,
Nick,
It's
I
even
would
not for a Dutch
go
person.
with
I
you.
think
I would go with you. I'm
it's
not Millicent.
I think it's Veve Melisand.
Veve Melisand. You can learn everything on this podcast, even some Dutch. They've gone viral for the socials. Do you want to share with us the reason why they're going viral at the minute?
Nobody knows actually why. I know they do training camps in Nerga once in a while, but it totally doesn't make any sense. Last season Malaga was playing playoffs. We got pictures of them with Malaga flags at their ground. And this season they decided to come up with a Malaga hymno. You tell me what makes sense.
They played it as the players went out to the pitch as well, didn't
It's
they?
getting more crazy every week. And I even think we came to a point where we have to say, maybe at the beginning of the podcast, when we do our review, maybe we should also look at their yeah,
what so who are they then, Chris? Is it Dutch, an amateur team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they play 5th division or something. And in Holland, that's in amateur football, it's really low. So it's not like the 5th division of the Netherlands, but like further up, it's not very high.
Then players and fans and coaches must have been thinking, what the?
I don't know. I don't know, but from now on, every review show, we're going to keep an eye out what they do. And I don't know if they have a Malaga flag at their stadium and coming onto the pitch with the Malaga. Maybe the least we can do is, if they provide us with a flag, maybe we can hang it up in La Rosaleda every week or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Maybe the campaign now, Chris, starts, and I know you love a campaign, is to get Malaga to play a friendly match in pre-season against Melisand, and that could be fun. Get them down to the Malaga Sports
Whereabouts in Holland is it? Do you know?
I have no idea.
We could arrange a Gearcast meetup in Melisand.
It's in the south of Holland. Melisand comes from the south of Holland. From Melisand.
Fire up the Geary Jet.
That's a village in Holland. The club was born in 1945. Crazy year, by the way, for a football club, because 1945 is the year the Second World War ended.
Yeah. Some people are just really keen to get back to footy, weren't they?
Yeah, maybe in England, because
that's over.
You were pretty safe in the UK, but in Holland we were in the middle of it.
I know. Well, maybe like you say, we reach out. Let's see if we can get them a friendly, or like you say, let's go and watch a Melisand game, which I think is required.
So I'll kick it off this week.
Well, whilst Chris kicks off the campaign to get that, I'll just remind you of some results from around La Liga High Promotion this weekend. We want to make sure everyone's fully across everything that's happening in this league. So on Friday, Cordoba registering their first home win of the season, beating Deportivo La Coruña 2-0. Eibar beating bottom of the table Tenerife, who have just appointed Pepe Mel as their manager. And he looked ecstatic about it as well in the pictures. He looked like he's really buzzing to be there. League leaders Levante beat Eldense 3-1. Also league leaders for a short time were Racing de Santander. They beat Sporting Gijon 1-0. Malaga obviously beat Huesca 1-0. Mirandés still up there despite all the odds, beating Albacete 2-0. Real Oviedo beating Cartagena 1-0. Lots of 1-0s this weekend. Burgos beating Real Zaragoza 1-0. Cádiz and Racing Ferrol was 0-0. Elche and Granada finished 2-2 on Sunday. And then the big game of the weekend, Castellón finally coming to life in this league for me, putting former La Liga side Almeria to the sword, 5-2 away from home, which is a massive result for Dick Schroeder and his boys. That is everything from around the grounds.
Yes, and Melisson drew 0-0 against Linschoten last weekend.
Vamos!
Come on, Melisson. Come on. That sounds good then. To get into the review of the game against Huesca, firstly, let's talk about the attendance, because this is the first thing that seems to pop up every week. We've sold 26,500 season tickets. Demand is at an all-time high, except the attendance for this match was 26,669. So the figures, once again, kind of not looking right on the tin. Chris, you were in La Rosaleda. Did it feel like there was more than that? I saw some pockets of empty seats, but I'm saying that it wasn't far off capacity in my book.
I find it funny how La Liga and Malaga both come up with other numbers, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird that happens, isn't it?
So who do you believe? I think we should believe Malaga Club de Football as they sell the tickets and count the people who are coming in.
Yeah, no, I'd be more inclined. Like I said, I saw from the far end there was a big sort of swathe of unclaimed seats under where the Benamiel sign is. I'm sure there's no correlation between that. But apart from that, every other seat looked taken. I've
read today in Radio Marca, Malaga, that the Huesca fans had some critiques. They sent an email to Huesca that they weren't very happy with La Rosaleda. A very hostile or not such a nice way they were treated by other Malaga fans. I didn't notice anything about it, but it's a complaint you hear more, that Malaga has no away end, which is really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not really segregated. Like if you used to go to Villarreal, you're behind screens and things like that.
Yeah.
But
did they take many fans that way?
There were fans there, and they said in the city before the match there was no problem, but during the match, the situation wasn't really nice for them, and they said luckily Malaga won, because we wouldn't know what would have happened if Malaga lost. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't really judge about it.
Yeah, I didn't see too much in the ways of negative, especially beforehand as well. We saw Huesca fans around the city, and it was all very jovial. So maybe there was just a few people that were making it a bit awkward for them. We also had a minute of silence for Fernando Puche, the former presidente of Malaga Club de Football. I say it was a minute's silence. There was about 20 seconds of silence before it erupted into rapturous applause. Obviously, Luke, Fernando Puche is a big character in Malaga's history. A big honour for him as well, considering the news that came out on, I think it was Friday that we found out about this, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think just looking at socials and stuff like that, it shows how much the guy was respected within Malaga, even now, days after. You're clicking on Malaga's website, Radio Marca, etc. Puche's name is very much in there. Again, I always, when in La Rosaleda, when it is like you say, Nick, the 20 seconds applause, the music, everything, it's a very powerful thing. I always believe it really gets to you.
Yeah, and do you feel the same, Chris? Obviously, you might have a bit more information about Puche and his history with the club.
Yes, he's one of the maybe I think he was the most important president of the club's history. He was a man of the fans. Maybe not so much liked by I don't know, other business people, or but he is the person who brought Malaga back to where we are today, and that's professional football.
Yeah.
He was the
Oh, a
president
lot,
in
really, don't they?
1999. I think he's the best president Malaga's ever had, and a man of the people, of the Malaguistas, with a very big Malaga Club de Football heart.
And that says a lot, considering that you have people like Fernando Sanz, who is so well respected, and things like that. So obviously very poignant that he had that, not just a minute's silence, but a rapturous applause, like I said, from the best part of 27,000 people. So he'll be fondly remembered and well missed around the club, I imagine. But to get onto the starting 11, we had predicted a couple of things during the preview show last week, Luke. I was all up for a Dione and Castell partnership up front. It didn't come off. Pace stuck with his usual 4-2-3-1 formation. The main change here was that Aaron Maloney came into the starting lineup. For the rest of it, what did you think about that move, and what did you think about the rest of the starting 11?
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I've got no complaints with it. The two changes I mentioned was Aaron Maloney and potentially Diego Murillo coming in at left back. So for me, he got it correct. I would have loved to have seen the two up front, but come on, we know Pellicer. He's not chucking two up front for a long time.
No, he's really not, Luke. As much as my dreams were there, it was the only continuing his own. You mentioned about left back, and obviously Victor Garcia is still out at the moment. Danny Sanchez had I don't want to say a nightmare at Cordoba, Chris, but he had to come into this game and put a performance in, didn't he? Was you surprised to see him start this one, or
not surprised? Maybe, because I think he's always a player that gives a full 100%. You won't see him wondering, and he might not be a player with the best quality, but he always, I don't know, hides that, seems to be able to hide that a bit by giving 150%.
He's a pure Malaguista,
yeah,
isn't he? He'll always play for the badge.
Yeah, and you see that, and I think people like that. I don't know. I mean, we have seen Joking coming on a pretty few times.
Yeah.
Also pretty strong.
Potentially the issue with Danny Sanchez in Cordoba was just a bit of ring rust. He'd not played for quite a considerable amount of time, and then to get put in for what, 85, 90 minutes, right?
But who played well against Cordoba?
Well, yeah, great point.
Well, that was it. Yeah, I think tactically it wasn't set up, and you can't say ring rust on this podcast, Luke, without people giggling.
As soon as I saw your faces laughing, I thought, I've said this wrong.
He's a bit rusty. Yeah, I think that's probably what you were trying to say. But yeah, I think to be fair, I thought he played brilliantly in this game. I've completely head skull on this now. I don't even know where I'm up to. It was a steady start from both teams. I thought Malaga came out and really controlled this game. I was quite surprised with how kind of nervous we were in this match, considering they were sort of towards the top of the league at the start of the season. For me, do you think Malaga started well, Chris?
I have no idea what you have been saying.
Your mic's going a bit, Nick.
Your mic is going.
Well,
that's a very robotic question there, Nick.
Yeah.
It's going through fine on my end. But were you impressed with how Malaga started?
That's better.
Yeah. I was very impressed how Malaga started. I think Malaga played a very good match. Very different than Cordoba. Started off well. We were the better side from the beginning, I think. And we didn't let that slip away through the whole first half.
Yeah, if you watch the highlights back, you would think it was a one-way match, basically, with it all going Malaga's way. But Luke, Huesca did have the ball in the goal first, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So the free kick came in. Don Alfonso came running out to roughly the penalty spot, went to claim it. For me, the Huesca player beat him to it, and that is all what happened. However, the referee saw it as a foul on Don Alfonso, and we got the free kick. But I mean, even after watching the replay, it's just one of them soft ones what goalkeepers get given these days. Don't get me wrong, I'm very, very happy that I did give it, but for me, that's not a foul at all. We were very fortunate.
We are fortunate, but you also have to be fortunate sometimes. And a mistake from Alfonso Herrero. If there's someone at this team who can make a mistake, it's him. Also, it's not the best position to make a mistake.
Yeah.
But it happens. It's something we didn't see much last season, but I'm starting to see a bit more mistakes of him this season.
Well, if you remember back to, I think it was about literally 1 minute before this incident, just a lack of communication between Nelson Monte and Alfonso Herrera, where he passed the ball across the area. That shouldn't happen. Come on, that should not happen.
Yeah, me and Matt said that as well in the stadium and went, and similar to what you just said, Chris, if anyone's got a bit of insurance or a few gimmies in him now, it's Alfonso Herrera. But, you learn as a 6-year-old never to pass it back across your own box like that from Nelson Monte. He's been so short as well by Herrera. Unfortunately, that came to nothing as well. For me, this goal really invigorated Malaga. It really woke them up, and we really went for it. I was so impressed with how direct Puga was, Danny Sanchez on the overlap, Ramani, Aaron Maloney, Antonito, Dione. Everyone was just at it.
I think you're forgetting to name Luismi, because he was everywhere again.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to come on to Luis and Molina and how well they made Malaga take, not just in the first half, but in the second half as well. But we got everybody with the goal. It was a crossing from Puga, Dione at the back post, but it was actually awarded to the West centre back Jorge Pulado, who was, I think, the captain as well. I thought this was the only goal, Luke. You said it was definitely 100% an own goal, but it did stop me from screaming in the stadium. But it's still good from that position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll give you guys credit. You're in the ground, so you're not seeing replays. I saw it an own goal straight away, just purely because I was sat in front of a telly watching replays. But yeah, end of the day, Dione's got to be in the 6-yard box to hustle into the player to cause the mistake. How many times over the past year and a half has Dione not been in that position where you want your number 9 to be? So yeah, good work from Dione, great work from Antonito out wide, and a much deserved 1-0, I'd say.
Because throughout the season he wasn't last season he wasn't a number 9.
No, exactly. We're getting part of the right wing and stuff, wasn't he?
Dione this season, Chris, feels like a different player, doesn't he?
Yeah, a very different player. I also think we didn't see him last week. Is that his mistakes? As a striker, you're as good as your team players, because you depend on them by getting the ball.
Yeah, and it feels like he's getting a much better service this season as well. Whether that's the new players he brought in or how we've picked it up a level, but the perfect time to score for me. We went into half time, 1 goal to the good. Did we miss anything from that first half, Luke? We were dominant in that first half, weren't we? It's probably the best first half of football I've seen Malaga play in a long time.
Yeah, you're correct. There are a couple of lads in the Gearcast community who are also saying performance of the season so far. For me, the one thing what we're missing is just the main thing, just the second goal. Once players woke up after, I don't know, the first sloppy 5 minutes, say we were by far the better team and deserved to go to maybe 3 up, but our finishing at sometimes isn't half suspect. I mean, we're getting in these positions and we fire it. I think on the tweets I reported that 3 or 4 shots went straight over the bar. If we could just be a little bit more clinical, we would have killed Huesca off a long, long time before this.
Yeah, we really kept him busy in that first half and peppered their goal a bit, especially after they'd scored the goal that was cancelled. Second half felt completely different for me, but not in a bad way. I think we controlled the game in the second half, but it wasn't as intense. We brought Dione off for Rocco after about an hour. It wasn't the change I wanted to see, but Rocco again not really showing us what he's all about. Chris, he seemed a bit lost in this match for me.
He showed us nothing again. And I think that's what we're missing, a good substitute for Dione, which I hope when he's fit, Castel can bring. But Rocco isn't showing it, which is I don't know.
It's a
Not
shame.
so good. Yeah, it's a shame.
It is. He seemed to not bring the same kind of intensity that Dione's brought. He kind of looked like what Dione looked like last season to me, in a kind of like a weird way. 10 minutes in, rumbles on, we take away the main service that's been provided in this match. Aaron Chomaloni goes off for Juanpe. Again, makes it a bit more flat, a bit more resolute. Romani comes off, who had a great game, by the way. For me, getting back up to speed, lots of step overs, lots of intensity. He looked brilliant in this match, didn't he, Luke?
Yeah, much more like the Romani, what we are definitely hoping to see. I think, again, it may be just a little bit classic case in corner about that. It was a little bit too soon for him. He probably trained 3 times with the team. He looked a lot trickier in this game as well. I think I sent the text out that he's probably taking an extra touch too many. But that's the sign also of a good winger who's wanting to drive at a fullback rather than stand, roll it 4 yards backwards, which...
So we can call him another Kevin.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, we know that Kevin's at his most dangerous when he's driving at defenders. However, he does play the simple ball too often, and fingers crossed that Romani can bring that more directness.
Yeah, definitely. And him and Puga have instantly built up an understanding, and they were just scintillating together. Don't get me wrong, Anthony and Danny Sanchez on the other side were great, but him and Puga were just different class in this match.
Nick, obviously, you guys are in the ground, and I picked up on it on the telly, and we've all been there. The Malaga fans will sing their hearts out. It's not very often they sing about a player, though. I know it was Roberto a lot last year. It's very much Herrero. I hear chants of Puga, and that's not a player what you pick out, but that just shows how well Puga is doing at the moment. He really has.
I'm sorry, but I didn't hear them.
Yeah, well, it were quite clear on the telly, it seems, because I even tweeted about it. And like I say, the sheer surprise that they were singing about a player.
Not coming from my part of the stadium.
No, you're all too busy shouting.
It might have been Laura just singing Puga.
I don't know, mate, but I sit where the noise comes from, and it was definitely not a song about Puga.
I'll find it.
Yeah, we'll get a clip of it. But to be fair, like saying this, we'll come on to Chumbos and Buznaga later. But for me, it's a foregone conclusion already. Like I say, this wasn't a game. This wasn't a half, where much really happened. I thought Huesca grew into the second half, but we managed to control them a lot more. And then we bring on Sergio Castel. He comes on basically almost immediately. The ball goes out to Isa Moreno from a skewed shot. I think it was from Rocco. Ball whipped back in. Header from Castel forces a brilliant save out the Huesca goalkeeper. I'm so excited to see what Castel can do. As you said earlier, Chris, when he's fully fit, he's going to be a bloody handful. Have you changed your mind on him yet?
No, because I know he's a good player. The thing I said is you can't put on a player on the pitch who comes from 1 week training with a team and has been spent the whole preseason doing some training on his own. No, but doing some training on his own.
Exactly.
I don't have to change my opinion on him because I know he's a very good player and he will bring a lot to Malaga when he's fit.
Oh, well, I think when he's fit, he's going to be unstoppable for me. The way that he can put his body in between.
But the problem I had was last time he played, it was the second match of the season, I think.
Yeah.
He was far away from being fit.
The way he puts his body between the ball and the player as well and can hold it up is it's again something that we haven't had for a while, really. I'm trying to think of the last player that sort of had that ability to do that in a game, probably going back as far as maybe Gassama, maybe something like that.
He's a striker where you need He's a perfect striker for a 4-4-2.
Yeah, definitely. And that's,
and
if you remember, when he came on at the weekend, it was in a 4-4-2.
and he's
When
not
that ball came in for that header, he attacked that like a centre forward, showed like a number 9. He wanted to score that goal.
because the
Rocco just seemed to like that.
The 4-3-2-1 with Costel, I don't see him playing that formation. He's
So what
perfect
you
in
say?
a 4-4-2 as he can hold the ball.
So what you're saying, Chris? What you're saying, Chris, is you're on the Dione / Castell frontman duo hype train as well. Is that where we're at?
I always said I like a 4-4-2 better than a 4-3-2-1.
The
With the
Bocadera and
diamond.
baggage. We want the Bocadera and baggage.
playing with the diamond, I think it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Play Romani and I don't know, Romani as a midfielder.
Probably currently now with the injury issues as well. I mean, what we don't want to do right now, we don't want to burn Antonito out as well. He's a young boy, and what's this? 390 minutes on the bounce. Are we a bit too much on his shoulders, maybe?
But he seems to be rising to it. He looks bigger and stronger already compared to the lad we saw last season. And even Moreno, who came on and did his part, he looked brilliant as well when he came on. So I think
in some moments, Antonito didn't look so good, in my opinion, last weekend.
No, I don't think he was at his scintillating best that we've seen, but I thought he put a pretty good shift in. And again, you cannot rely week in, week out for a 17-year-old to put in world-class performances. He's got to just do his part and grow into it. But most importantly, we've come away with 3 points. We're still unbeaten in the start to this season. So 5 games on the bounce, unbeaten. Currently fifth in the league, are we?
Yeah, 7th now.
Yeah, because last night's.
I think that other content creators and media who were not negative about Malaga, but maybe not so hyped or didn't qualify the Malaga team as not so good, being the Malaga team as not so good, maybe they have to reconsider a bit.
Yeah, I thought a lot of people were thinking we wouldn't be anywhere near this. And as we spoke after the match on Saturday, Chris, you've got to get to that magic 50 points, and we're already up to 9. Only 40 to go, basically, or 41 to go. Only these are 2 points off top, Luke. Do we dare to dream? Are you dreaming already?
Let's not get dreaming yet. Let's get Friday night out of the way first. If we come away with 3 points, then we started to dream.
And let's not forget
the biggest.
Albacete was first on the table.
Yeah.
We won against Albacete. Huesca was first on the table, and we won against Huesca. I'm not saying we get promoted. I'm not saying we will make it to playoffs. But we already have 9 points. It's only 41 points to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, Granada on Friday. So this is where it's going to get tricky now, because we've got some tough fixtures up and coming. Granada on Friday, Elche at home the week after, and then a trip to Deportiva La Coruña the week after. So they're going to come thick and fast, but we've got to be enjoying it at the minute. It's a change to what we've seen the last time we're in Segunda the couple of seasons before. And so,
guys, the thing is with this league, it's fucking crazy. Anybody can beat each other. I mean, like when you read the results out earlier, until last night, every home team avoided defeat. I think there were 9 victories and 2 draws or something like that. It's like anything can happen. I mean, Granada's lost every game at home this season so far. Do you expect to go there Friday night and it'd be easy? Because I don't at all.
No, but I don't think you have to look at that way either, because I think it's more difficult to play against teams like Granada, Deportivo La Coruña, or Elche, because all of them 3 are at the bottom of the table. And yes, they are at the bottom of the table. With how many matches are we in? 5th?
Yeah, that's all.
So it says nothing.
The league table means Not much at the
No,
moment.
it means
The biggest
nothing.
thing for me to take from Saturday night again is the clean sheet. We're keeping clean sheets.
Yeah.
If you don't concede goals, you don't lose games.
We need to start looking at the table when I'm wearing my winter jacket, maybe in December. See where we stand in December, and then you can take your conclusions from there. But the most important thing is reach the 50 points as soon as possible, because then you can play football freely and enjoy football.
Yeah, you're doing no fun. I'm going to stare at the table for a little bit longer. I like seeing Malaga in and around the playoff picture this early on. I suppose we come to Chumbos and Biznagas. So, Chris Marquez, I'll start with you, please, sir. Who are you going for Chumbo this week?
A difficult one when you play very well, but I would go with Rocco, because I think none of the starting 11 made me choose them. Didn't think they deserve none of the starting 11 deserves a Chumbo.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I'm going with Rocco as well. When you wear the number 9 in your back, I expect a clinical finisher. And the fact that he took a shot from about 10 yards out and it went out for a throw-in makes me worry about Rocco a little bit more. Luke, are you joining suit or are you going for somebody else?
I'm not. I'm going to be slightly controversial here. However, I do think Rocco was terrible, and he's got away with it a couple of times, and I don't think Rocco's the player what we want him to be. My controversial one is because, one, this guy never ever gets it, and I dare say he never ever will get another one. There was a lapse in concentration in the first half. It was very, very weak for the disallowed goal. The second half, he came racing out of his box and got yellow carded for handballing the ball. A few years ago, that rule was a straight red card. For me,
don't you dare.
Just because I
Is
want
he doing
to,
it?
just once, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Don't you
My
think about
Jumbo this week is for Don Alfonso Herrero.
Wow.
You should be ashamed.
He just
You
wasn't
should be
himself.
ashamed.
I want a reaction. And I
to be fair, and I won't put Matt's name against this, but he did maybe mention on Vamos. I don't know if he mentioned it to me in my ear, but he said, given the performances, Alfonso Herrera could be up there. But I also think he's got enough credit in the bank to not worry about throwing a few.
The only reason I did go through with it was purely because he didn't have anything to do during the game. Like we'd normally say, he made this fantastic save, what he normally does. Huesca didn't really bother our goal, if you know what I mean. He didn't have much to do. So I am picking at negatives. I would love to get it to Rocco, but with him coming off the bench, I want to give it a 90 minutes. And I thought the rest of the outfield 10 were fantastic.
I also think...
He just wants to be clickbait.
Yes, I'm not.
I also think that after 60 or 70 minutes, Huesca gave up a bit.
Yeah, they ran out of ideas, didn't they?
Yeah, and the moment, and that shows the perfection of last weekend's match, because I'd never seen that happen much in La Rosaleda the past few seasons.
No, definitely not. So two for Rocco and one for Alfonso Herrero. I'm going to say that was with confusion still. Chris, I'll come to you for your Biznaga. Plenty to pick from. I've got an inkling who you might go for, but I'll leave it to you to tell me.
Yeah, because I've said it. It's not very hard. and I think everybody should go for this player because he plays at the position which we all, and you especially all, we all forget. It's not a place you can seem to stand out much, but I'm going for Luismi because he is so important. The reason why Huesca didn't attack was mainly because he had the midfield under control.
He really did, and every time he recovered a ball and won it back, or really stretched Huesca as well. He's brilliant at finding a wide player, and similar to Molina in that sense. And the pair of them in this match, they were like the Bash brothers at one point. Yeah. It was brilliant to watch.
But you will go for your Ochoas and your.
Well, my honourable mentions would be for Luis and Molina in there together. Aaron Ochoa Maloney as well for a really good performance. I don't know if you saw his heat map on the League High Promotion Twitter page. He was all over the place, and for such a young lad, he was very forward thinking. But I'm going with Carlos Puga. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the way he's maturing as a right back and making that shirt his own and that position his own, and how direct he was in this game, it all came down that right hand side for me. So I'm going with Puga. Luke, who are you choosing?
Yeah, for me, I'm going for Aaron Ochoa Maloney. I thought this was the performance we've been waiting for him. As you mentioned earlier, Antonito looks mature. Aaron Ochoa Maloney looks like he's had a fantastic summer. He's very direct how he plays, and I love that. If I could give a Biznaga for 3, I would give it to them 3 in midfield. I thought Luis Mí were fantastic. I thought Manu Molina were very, very much like himself again. He really was dictating play. I like how those two feed the ball to Aaron, who can then turn, and away we go. Fantastic midfield.
I agree with you, but because you're saying this is the Aaron Ochoa where we were hoping for, he was very good, but I also think you can't expect that from a 17-year-old every week.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And that's a bit the problem I have with playing Aaron Ochoa Maloney, because he can be a 10 or a 9, but he can also easily be a 5.
For me, the only difference, I totally agree with you in terms of we can't put too much weight on a 17-year-old. We mentioned a few weeks ago, Antonito's had his moment, the name in the stars, the Tarragona goal, obviously.
Yeah.
Ochoa Maloney maybe hasn't had that because he hasn't had the goal yet, but I just think performances like this show that a year, 2 years down the line, we have got a real talent here. He can turn our play so quickly.
He's our only true, for me at the minute, he's our only true number 10, maybe with the exception of La Rubia, but I think he's performed better out wide on the right. So, all different Biznagas this week, which is always a good sign of a good result. So, I suppose we look ahead towards Granada on Friday. It is a Friday night, so I'll ask the question: is there going to be a live stream, Luke? Are you watching, or how are we feeling about Friday night?
I'll 100% be watching. We'll see what we can do. If not, as always, there'll be the minute by minute, but we will confirm on the preview, I guess.
Yes, we shall confirm live stream on the preview. We'll keep an eye on our social media, and we'll let you know on that one. If you've been watching on YouTube as well, you probably noticed that we've had a big QR code in the corner, and you've probably been thinking, what's that QR code for? So I will hand over to Chris Marquez. He's got a story to tell us. So Chris, take it away.
Yes, I forgot we were there already. It's already the end of the show. Well, some people listen to us while driving, and others might listen while they're working. And of some, we know your stories, and of others, of you, we just don't. Because we never met you, we never seen you. And it's hard, and I think you guys totally agree with me. It's hard to realize when we record that people actually do listen, because we are just friends chatting to each other about Malaga. And this weekend, something happened, and it really touched me. It really touched you all, because every time we meet listeners, we are thankful and amazed for people to listen to us, and we're very thankful. And this weekend, we all met Michael, except you, Luke. And the story of Michael touched me, touched Nick. When we told you, it touched you as well. It touched Matt as well, and it directly in our hearts. Because Michael returned to La Rosaleda last weekend for the first time after losing his son Ryan, who had non-Hodgkinson lymphoma and passed away last November at the age of 37. A very difficult moment for Michael to return, because he and Ryan used to visit La Rosaleda and Malaga matches together. And Michael told me that when Ryan was in the hospital and he or his wife would sleep over, would stay with him the nights, and then he used to listen to the Gearycast with Ryan. And when the nurses came in and would ask what they were listening, they both would reply the Gearycast. So that's touched me a lot. It touched you guys a lot, and well, we hope we have brought a love to both of Michael and Ryan's faces, and they enjoyed the episodes while being in the hospital and going through such a difficult time. And last weekend, Malaga showed class football, and we are sure Ryan was looking there from above at La Rosaleda, being proud of the club, but I think being most proudly of his dad, Michael, uh, for being strong and going back to La Rosaleda, as difficult as it was, because it's the place he used to go with his son. So we want to dedicate this episode to Ryan, a Malaga fan who enjoyed La Rosaleda together with his father. We want to wish Michael, his wife, family, and friends all the strength in the world, even that it has been such a while ago, November. It's a thing, well, which must be so hard being a father. I'm a father, Nick, you're a father. It's something we can't imagine. And it doesn't really matter how old your son or your daughter is. I think no parent should survive their kids. I think that's the most toughest things in the world. And Ryan, if you are listening from above there, vamos Malaga. This episode is for you and for everybody who's listening, watching. We have your QR code. We will also share it on social media. Go and if you can, make a donation. It's for cancer research. It's the cancer research page in the UK. And if you can donate, this was the Gearycast. Vamos Malaga.